Muted.
John, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. All right. Well, last week we talked about the 3 internal motivators that drive successful people. So the question is, let's say you don't have them. So what do you do? We kind of touched on them last week, but I mainly gave you the 3 last week, and we want to more talk about what do you do if you don't have those. So let's go to the second slide, Trish. How do I develop these 3 character traits to drive my success? The traits are, I am purpose to succeed. You need to believe that, really believe that. Second trait, I will prove it. And what does that mean? I will prove it. And then I will have impulse control. And we talked about those 3 things last week. Now, I was at a personal development seminar, and there was a speaker, and it was all like, you can do this, and you can do that, and everybody has the full potential, and within them is the greatest and the most amazing ability to do anything you want. You can just say, I am successful. And it was like, I knew that is not true. And you're like, wait a minute, Darcy, you're supposed to have these affirmations. And so what if you're saying it, but you don't believe it? And so I'm thinking in my head while they're saying all this stuff, all this positive rah-rah stuff, I know that I'm looking around the room, and I know people don't believe it. They'll say it, they'll use the words, but seriously inside their deep place of truth to them, they don't even believe it. So a little hand goes up, and this one lady says, what if you don't believe it? I was the next speaker, and I'm like, I'll take care of that. I will help you understand how you can believe it. Because there's this personal development movement, which I love, and y'all love, and people have had great experience in growing. But the truth is a different factor. There's this motivation, and true motivation helps you do something like clean your room, clean the garage. It's more of a short-term motivator. It's been proven that motivation works for short-term, but you're looking to work hard 3 to 5 years with Legal Shield. So that isn't short-term. That's 3 to 5 years. That's overcoming day in and day out the obstacles and the challenges. So when you are don't really believe it, it's going to show. You're going to have trouble on those days. So if you're trying to do that, you get up and you're alive, alert, and you feel great, and you can do all things, and you're reading your little thing, but really you're like looking in the mirror saying you're a schmuck. You don't even succeed. Look at last month's production. You're not the person you say you are. This doesn't even work. So, but then you keep hearing these seminars saying, yeah, just believe, and all that. So you keep trying to, and so I'm here to try to help you come to a place of building it on the rock, you might say. You can build a house on the sand, or you can build a house on the rock. And the rock, they're both going to have a house, and both houses are going to have storms and rain and scorching sun. Both of them are going to have the same things coming against them. I'm sorry about that. That's the way it's going to be. But if you build it on the sand, it's going to wash away. It's literally going to wash away into the sea because it's not got a strong foundation. So today is really about that, and this is a little deep and everything, but hopefully you'll get past. It's awesome to say you can do it to somebody, and it's awesome and incredible, and all those things are great. We're going to get a little bit to the core. How do you get your core? Like if you go to a computer and you have a program, it's not in your computer, you keep demanding that computer to print out a spreadsheet, but it doesn't have Excel in it. So you can't get a spreadsheet out of the computer if it doesn't have the program Excel in it. So it can only give you what's in it. And a lot of times you have it already, you just don't believe it right now. And so you can't pull out of your computer, your thinking, something because you don't agree that you really have it. So how do you build I am purpose to succeed, I will prove it, and I have impulse control? Next slide. All right, so we looked at a plane and we said, let's say you've never seen a plane before, never in your life. And you're like looking up in the sky, and you're like, wow, look at that Look at that big red and white thing up in the sky. And if you wanted to know what the purpose of that product was, that thing in the sky, who would you call? Would you go to Southwest Airlines? Would you go to Greyhound? Would you go to Schwinn Bicycles? Would you go to Chipotle because you like that food? So maybe they would know. Or would you go to the one that made it, Qantas? So if you wanted to know what the thing was that you were looking at, you would go to the one that made it, Qantas, because they would be able to say exactly what it is, why it is, how it is, what is its design, and they would be able to help you understand the purpose of this thing you see in the sky. All right, the next picture. Now, Trish, okay, if you wanted to know the purpose of this product, who would you call? Best Buy? You know, would you go to Best Buy and say, what is this thing? Would you go to Verizon? Would you go to Budweiser? I mean, those are all companies. Those are all very successful companies. Would you go to a psychologist? Maybe you're stressed out. You don't know what this thing is. And you're like, what is the purpose of this product? So you go to a psychologist, and they, you know, they're going to get really deep with you, and they're going to try to have some help you to have that understanding of what this product is. Well, all that seems really foolish, and you're like, Darcy, what are you saying? Why are you, you know, telling me that? Obviously, if I wanted to know what this product was, I would go to the BMW manufacturer, and they would tell me exactly what kind of tires, exactly what kind of oil, exactly what kind of gas. They made it, they know it, and they can help me understand it. They understand what its full potential is because they made it, and they put the design. But in life today, a lot of times people, they go to the craziest people to find out who they are. So their own product, meaning you know, they'll go to a neighbor or a old teacher, and they'll play in their mind what that teacher said or that person said at the mall, or some rotten person that kind of made a bad comment, or a friend in middle school. I mean, we knew someone who literally still was in trauma 12 years after high school because they didn't make homecoming queen, or court, actually. And so that was such an identity. That was such a blast for them. They were struggling with that. So they didn't really know who they were 12 years later after high school, because they struggled with their identity, and their identity was attached to something. So this picture here, if you want to know the purpose of a product, in this case, you go to BMW. All right, the next picture. Now you're saying, now I want to, you're like, oh, that's so obvious, Darcy. Well, let's look at the picture. So in this picture that you see before you, what is that? So if you were sitting around with all your smart friends and you were looking at this picture and you needed to know what that was, you're out what this is. And I wish I could hear you all talking, because I would like to hear what you think it is. But it's one of those things that the only way to know what this product is and its purpose would be to talk to the one that designed it, because the one that designed it knows exactly what they were thinking, why they were thinking, and you see, like, it has like little eyes and a big nose and two little ears there, and it's made out of clay, and so the purpose of the thing, if we go to the next, it's called Mr. Sniffles. And if you go to the next picture, you're going to see the purpose of the thing. And it is an egg yolk, egg white separator. You can see somebody has cracked an egg inside of the unit, and they are letting the egg whites, Mr. Sniffles, come out of the product, and that is what it is. It's an egg white separator. So somebody who wants only egg white omelets will use this product to create their end result. How many people would have ever guessed that that was an egg white separator? So that's the point. You don't know, and nobody does. So let's say that particular object was used as a candle, or maybe a coffee cup, or you didn't know what it was, or you thought it was just a paperweight. So you're using the product wrong because you don't know what it is. And Miles Monroe always told us, if you don't know the purpose of a thing, you'll abuse it. And I didn't really understand that at first, but literally a man who doesn't know the purpose of a wife, his purpose for a wife, if he's a husband, or the purpose of a husband is to serve his wife and to be the head leader that show her examples of security, give her security and protection. But maybe he thinks he's to boss her around. Maybe he thinks he can just slap her around. Maybe he thinks he can tell her what to do and she's there for his pleasure. And so he doesn't understand the purpose of a husband. And if you don't understand the purpose of a husband, then you will abuse that position. So in that case, that man hurting that woman and thinking she's just there, she's not even or even looking at a woman and thinking the purpose of a woman is nothing, no value, except to please him. So there's men that actually have a wrong concept of what the purpose of a husband and the purpose of a woman. And you can see why, if they don't know the true purpose of a thing, they will abuse that product or position. So there's an example of if you don't know the purpose of a thing. So here's an example, Mr. Sniffles, and that's pretty gross. So let's go to the next picture. All right, so the next picture is, of course, the iPhone. So the key is in learning that my purpose is to be successful. It is literally to be successful. All of the products we have looked at were made for a purpose, and the plane was made to fly, the car to drive, the Apple phone to be used. So first you have to know the truth about a thing. You have to go to the one who made it to know that truth. So if I sat down with Stephen Jobs, and he was able to tell me the magnitude of awesomeness about this product, I can guarantee you I am personally using my iPhone at about 20% capacity because of my lack of knowledge. And my people perish for lack of knowledge. So if I'm using the phone at 20% of capacity because I don't know all of its value, is that Steve Jobs' fault? Did he make the phone to do all 100% of its potential? Yes. He made it to be used to do all the things that it was used to do in the mind of the creator. So he stuck that detail in there. He stuck the proper components in there so I could have the benefit of all of those things. So the first thing, know the truth about a thing. Otherwise, you won't even use it to full capacity. The second thing is if a product isn't working, you have to go to the one who made it. So to understand the truth about a thing, you go to the one who made it. To understand what to do when the product is not working, you go to the one who made it. So Qantas doesn't go to Southwest Airlines. BMW doesn't go to Radio Shack or Toyota when it's broken. It goes to BMW dealership because they know how to fix it. They're the ones that made it. So the Apple phone, I don't take my Apple phone if it's broke to Samsung or TCBY or BMW. No. Who best knows how to fix a broken iPhone? So if you take it to your neighbor, hey, you can go swimming with that iPhone, and you believe the neighbor instead of going to the people that made the phone, going to the Apple store, going to the Apple people, going to the iPhone creators, and you listen to your neighbor and then you just go swimming with your iPhone, you're going to destroy the purpose of that thing. And it's not because the creator, the one who made it, Stephen Jobs, it's not because he intended for the phone to break down, but you violated the purpose of the thing. You didn't understand. You had lack of knowledge, so therefore you were operating in that lack of knowledge, and you went swimming with the iPhone. So now it's not working, and you're like, this thing doesn't work. My life isn't working. This legal shield doesn't work. And it really isn't that it's not working. It's that you are missing something. There's a truth you're missing about you or the purpose of what you're doing. So who knows the truth about a product? It's designer. And the designer also knows its expected performance. So if you have to have an iPhone 6, or if you have an iPhone 6, and all you do is call your mom on it because your mom said that's all it's good for, and you believe it, understand, because you believe a thing does not make it true. You may believe you can't succeed. You may believe that I'm not good at sales. You may believe nobody's interested in talking to me. You may believe certain things. That does not make it true. So with the iPhone, if my mom told me the only thing it's good for is to talk to her, And so therefore I believe it, and that's all I did is call back and forth and never text and didn't take a picture. So with the iPhone, all I can do is call my mom, and then I go without pictures of my kids, memories are lost, the potential is never realized. So there's I mean, it sounds like silly because we all know the purpose of it, but there's people I meet every day. I meet them, and if they're having financial issues, I know that there's a truth they don't understand. There's something in their life that is missing, and if they had the truth would set them free in that area. All right, so does your ignorance of the purpose and power of a product change the truth about what it can do? No, never. So if you're ignorant of the purpose and power of you, of why you were made, the purpose and the power, the truth, not like a, hey, you can do it. Literally what the designer was thinking when he made you, what went into you so that you could succeed, the purpose and the power of your life. If you meditated on that, forget what your mom told you, and the coaches and the teachers and the friends at school and your college experience and your jobs in the past. I want you to go back to the beginning, to what was in the mind of the person that made you, and just literally meditate on that over and over and over. And the potential, if you don't know the truth about the potential is never realized, period. It just isn't. This, like in the iPhone, this fantastically designed product is completely misused and abused. And would Steve Jobs ever want a product he made potential to be wasted? No one does. Nobody wants. BMW puts so much time and effort into making a car. They don't want you to misuse it, to put the wrong oil, put honey in the gas tank, and put ketchup in the oil tank. That would destroy the car and the performance because of your lack of knowledge. You didn't read the manual. You don't know what you're doing. So you put stuff in your life. Many of you are putting the wrong television shows, the wrong movies, the wrong associations, possibly and you're watching, you're literally, call it your eye gate and your ear gate. Your eye gate is watching and music, it could be conversations, gossip, bitterness. Those things are like, what? You don't even want that in your ear gate. So think of your ear gate and your eye gate, what you see out of, what you hear with, as needing a protector over it. You need to protect what you see and bring into your life, because your product is not designed to take in that negative, that take in that kind of poison. So those are some examples of what can happen if you were never disciplined, if you didn't have impulse control, and your belief system about your purpose to succeed is all messed up because you've been taking in through your eye gate and your ear gate a lot of reality TV. That is a mess in itself. Maybe news is super negative, and you're filled with fear about what's going on in the world. So now you're not operating because you're putting gas, instead of gas, you're putting ketchup in the gas tank. So if you put ketchup in a gas tank of a car, that won't make the car run. But you're putting in to your eye gate and ear gate things that your eyes shouldn't be seeing and your ears shouldn't be hearing. So you're abusing your product. You're putting in you wrong conversations and an environment that is not able to help you grow. So think of a cactus. Think of a cactus in Alaska. So I take a cactus, and it has the purpose to grow by its creator. It was designed to grow, but I put it in the wrong environment. I put it up in Alaska, so of course it's not going to grow. And then you're like, this stupid cactus, this doesn't even grow. And it's really not that. That's because I don't understand the purpose of the thing. I'm putting it in the wrong environment, and therefore it doesn't totally, and it actually dies up there in Alaska. So that's the question is, the next slide, Trish, what about you? What about you? So when you look at what you were made, have you ever really sat and thought about it? And we're not talking about mom and dad. You don't look at mom and dad. I don't want you to look at mom and dad, and I want you to look at what the Creator thought when He made you. It says that you were fearfully and wonderfully made in the womb of your parents. He just used them to facilitate you. And so when the Creator of the universe is making you in the womb of your parents, what was He thinking? Was He thinking, I want this person to not be able to talk to people, I want them to be ineffective and unorganized and confused? Like the first verses when creation started. The first verse says, let's see, Genesis 1:1, the sun just begun, and in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, verse 1, Genesis 1:1. Second verse, there was void, confusion, and darkness. So if there is void, confusion, and darkness in your life, in any area, let's say it's in your habits, then you study habits day and night. If it's finances, then you find out someone who has good finances and you study finances day and night until you change your core understanding belief system, because you've got something in your belief system like the Apple phone or the BMW that someone said, hey, you're cool, just put ketchup in the gas tank. Well, that's not true, but someone gave you information that that is true. You accepted the information that that is true. Therefore, you acted on the information as true. But it's false information, and it's poison, and it's in your life, in your car, and it's causing problems. And you're not having the success you were designed to have. So when you think about how to unclutter all this kind of stuff, you kind of got to go back to the beginning. And this is where this one goes, what if I don't believe it? What if I don't believe I'm supposed to succeed? What if I don't believe? And, you know, the previous speaker was just like, you can, you can, you can. She said, and it was so beautiful for her to actually say that, because I knew many people believe that, but they're not saying that because you're going to be shunned. No, you got to, you know, think positive. So you need to go back to the beginning and ask yourself, what was the Creator thinking when He made you? And would there ever be a possibility that you were made to fail or to not succeed and to be full of darkness, void, and confusion? So in Genesis 1:2, when it said that earth was, God made the earth, and then there was darkness, void, and confusion, Genesis 1:3 says, let there be light. And that means, light in that case means understanding. Let there be understanding to you, because He hadn't made light and day yet. So when He said, let there be light, He was getting rid of confusion and darkness and void. So if you have that void and that confusion and darkness in those areas of your life, you need light. You need truth. You need to get all the other muckety-muck junk that's been told to you. You actually have to examine what you truly believe and find out what in the world and who told you what. So go to the next slide. So if I am purposed to succeed and I finally believe it, Trish, did you get that? Go to the next slide. I am purposed to believe, then there's something in me that says I want to prove it. Of course I do. If I'm purposed to succeed, I want to prove it. And it's not because to other people. I'm not proving it. Trish, the slide is not changing. I need you to change the slide. Okay, so I need you to, if I truly know, if I go back and build my identity on the rock, not the sand and every, you know, it can just get washed, and then I'm not trying to hype myself up, I'm literally building it on truth, then when if I am an apple tree, I am going to make apples, because I believe I'm an apple tree. And if the apple tree is meant to be fruitful and multiply, boom, I'm going to say, okay, that's what I'm made for. And then your mind will figure out a way to do it because you agree for the first time with truth. And so once you know and you get that settled, the I will prove it is a natural kind of a extension of somebody with a very strong, true identity that they are made and purposed to succeed. So you got to fix that first, and it's how you fix it, the things I've shared with you. And then that I will prove it is kind of like I will be an iPhone that serves people. I will be a BMW that takes people from point A to point B with a comfortable ride. I will be that car because it's such a glory to the product. There's so much glory to the product when the product actually does what it's meant to do. Now, the third part, the impulse control, that's a little bit different story, okay? So that's not a thinking issue. That's not a core process. Wrong information can mess up your on purpose to succeed and I will prove it thing. Those are naturally come out of that truth that you have in the center, that core truth that you have will take care of the I am purpose to succeed, you will believe it, and then you will obviously produce it, because once you know it, that responsibility to produce it is there. Then there's this thing called impulse control. This is a lot like my habits book, but the impulse control can mess up a life. That is literally, I can remember in high school when the Gloria Vanderbilt jeans came out. It was the first designer jean ever, in America, and it was like Gloria Vanderbilt. And I decided, I can remember in high school thinking, okay, those are super expensive. Do I have to have Gloria Vanderbilt jeans? And if I have to have Gloria Vanderbilt jeans, then they're going to come out with another jean, and I'm going to have to have that. And then they're going to come out with something else, and I'm going to have that. So I'm going to decide, literally this conversation went through my mind, I'm going to decide I don't have to have that to be successful for me. I don't have to have that for me to say, Darcy was great, born to be successful, because she has Gloria Vanderbilt jeans on. I'm going to say I'm born to be successful because I was born to be successful. And what I wear is irrelevant. What I drive is irrelevant. All the other things are irrelevant, because I'm going from my core truth. I was born to succeed. So I didn't need that or that, the jeans or the cars or this. Now I could have them because they're nice and they're comfortable. But I chose them with a different motivation. My motivation to drive or have a certain thing was not built out of making me better. I already was better. I already was, because that's what the Creator made me to be. I already was that finished product. So that finished product didn't need somebody else's stuff to make it better. It already was complete. So I was complete in my life. I didn't need things to make my identity stronger. And I think that is the ability to have impulse, is you don't have to have that car or that thing and go in debt. So you have that ability to say no, because you're complete, whole, and lacking nothing. And so let's go to the next slide, Trish. This is a really, really, really serious issue. Give careful thought to your ways. We talked about it last week, but literally, boom, there it is, there it is, there it is. If you have trouble, you have planted much, so many people. I have talked to 100 people this week, but harvested little. I eat but never have enough. You drink but never have your fill. You put on clothes but you're not warm. You earn wages, so you're going out there and you're going out there and you're doing things, only put them in a purse with holes in it. What is going on here? How could someone have planted much but harvested little? So something is going on. In this particular story, in Hosea or Haggai, I can't remember, but it is about somebody that has wrong priorities. And John gets calls from people, and they're like, man, I'm going out there in the marketplace, and things aren't working really well. And he says, tell me how you're serving your wife. And they're like, what has that got to do with success? Everything. Tell me about how you have your priorities. Are you taking care of your family and your wife? Well, no, I got to go out there. And so he says, oh, so take careful thought to your ways, is what he's saying, because something's off. You are so obsessed, you're so focused on this one thing, but it's a side effect of principles. See, if you principally put the right gas and oil in your BMW, the side effect of the BMW, well, it will last a long time, and it will be a very healthy car. But if you abuse the manual of the BMW and you put oil, or instead of oil or gas, you put ketchup and honey, you're going to have some trouble with that car. It's not going to give you the performance it was meant to give you. All right, so this careful thought to your ways can be so many things, and inconsistency is a big one. And the people that make 10 calls on Monday and then they don't for a week, or you make the calls but you don't follow up. Okay, you have to give their careful thought to your ways. So this is the impulse control, and make a decision to be what you're created to be. And what is that person? And draw out your job description. What does a person created to succeed look like? What does Darcy look like? What does a day that Darcy is successful, a successful Darcy day look like? And write that out and say, okay, I am purposed to make that. So if you don't make the calls, the 10 calls you're going to make every day, you make 8, let's say, then Darcy says to Darcy, you are purposed to make 10. You're designed to succeed. This is not who you are. The fact that you fell short of your daily goal. You're a person that always reaches your daily goal. That's how you were designed. That's how you're made. That's what you're going to do. You're going to say no to that call to go for coffee with those friends because you had the commitment to be who you're meant to be. So you start talking to yourself in a way that is who you are, and it'll eventually manifest. It'll eventually become that. So go to the next slide, Trish. So here's our little, we saw a forest last week, and we said, what is inside that tree? And inside that tree was a table, was a spoon, was all kinds of things made out of wood pencils that have written love notes. And so here's another picture. Here's a little kitty that looks into the water and sees themselves in a different light. So what do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you believe in the fact that you were made to succeed? And then the next picture, once you believe in yourself, the next key is to surround yourself with those on the same mission. So first you have to see who you are, and you call things that are not as though they were. So if you are not the person, you go back to the beginning, you have a talk with you and the designer of yourself, and what was going in the mind of that designer that made you, and then you settle it. You settle that is the truth about you, and then that is it, okay? And with the one that made you, not anybody else, not anybody's voices can be part of this. That's called commingling. Somebody else's voice getting in there and mixed up with the voice of the one that made you. No, that can be a mess, and you can be like all those little voices going together. You just need one voice, and that is the one that made you. You were designed to succeed, and then make sure that, and you're going to say this and work on this over and over. It's a process until it becomes a lifestyle. So at first it's a action that you're doing to discipline yourself, to understand and go back to the original truth about who you were when the Creator made you, and what was in that mind of that Creator for your life, for you to succeed. And then you look around you. Was bankruptcy in my picture? No, never, ever, never, never. And so was health and depression and debt and all this kind of stuff. Is this in my life, or is prosperity? Am I meant to be fruitful? Am I meant to bless others, to be a blessing, to have extra so I can give it out? Absolutely you are. So surround yourself with those on the same mission that agree with what you were made for, that will speak life into you, speak life into you, and you speak life into them, and get rid of all the other people that are not doing that. So let's go to the next slide, and just I'm going to turn it over to Bob. Bob, are you out there? Bob or John?
I am here.
All right. Bob, you want to just get some feedback?
Absolutely, absolutely. Just again, Darcy, just blown away. I just love this topic. I love when you keep coming back to it. Spaced repetition, that's for sure. What we want to do, folks, is we actually want to hear from everybody. Okay, everyone's got to be blown away like I am right now. And this is your opportunity. Let's have a question for Darcy. How would you handle a situation? What was an aha, that you picked up off of today's webinar? And Darcy, let me start first, because I've got a quick question for you, and I know a lot of our associates come across this too. I've got an associate, man, he's got a heart of gold. Unfortunately, he's just not coachable, and it's the blame game. He's looking externally instead of internally. What would you do with a person like this? Besides, he should be on this webinar today, of course, but he's not. Any suggestions you do? Like, because I've got a big heart. I know a lot of us have a big heart. We sometimes want it more than an associate wants it. And what would you do in that kind of situation?
Well, I think of my the master who had given talents to 3 different people. Meaning, okay, so in life, every one of us have gifts and talents, right? So the story goes like this. A guy was given 5 talents, somebody was given 2 talents, and somebody was given 1, and the master leaves, goes away. He comes back, the one with 5 doubled it, the one with 2 doubled it, the one with 1 did not. They took their one talent and buried it and said, oh, I was so afraid I didn't know what to do. So they buried it. And he took, now in today's economy, you would think that the person that had one would get help from the guy that had 5 that doubled it, now he has 10. The guy that has 2 that doubled it has 4. You'd think that he would go grab, hey, guy with the 5 that doubled it, I think I should take some from you and give it to the guy with 1 who didn't do anything. And that's not what happened. The story doesn't go like that. The story says they took away, he was so mad. He said, you wicked and evil servant. And see, there's truth. Okay, here's some truth that is a little bit upside down from what you are taught in the world today. And he looks at the one that did not produce and takes the 1 talent away from him and gives it to the guy who had 5 talents and doubled it, and gives it to him. And he was upset because there is, whatever you were given in talents, you're meant to double, and you're meant to be fruitful with that. And so people that are blame game, I would, number 1, give them the book, The Traveler's Gift. And this actually did happen with one of our EDs that was having a hard day. Let me just say, it's pretty hysterical, this phone call we got. So having a hard day, and my objective with him on the phone call was to turn it around to, what do you control? All right, so what are you responsible for? Because I can't control the outside forces. I can't do anything. In life, they can't, I can't. So if in the whole book, and The Traveler's Gift, starts out with this guy, he's broke, he's mad, everybody's bad, his company's bad, his job is bad, everybody else's fault but him. And that's where it starts, the book. And he's going on and on. He's so negative. And so he goes throughout these 7 chapters of traveling with this traveler and sees life through a different set of eyes. Basically, it opens up and gives him a new perspective. And that's what that person needs. That person needs a new perspective. He needs to understand he is responsible, and it starts with humility. And I think to myself, when I had owned my tanning spas, I sold them, traveled the world, lots of money, and then I started this industry. I was so humble. I think about that because I was kind of a hot shot, and I had been successful, but it doesn't matter. I understood that when I came into this game, this is a new game, and the person I was working with made $20,000 a month at that time, and then above that, Jeff had already $300,000 a month. So obviously, they were making more in this business than I had ever had. So I wasn't going to be all know-it-all. Even though I had success, I could take my hard work ethic, I could take a lot of those skill sets about I was willing to do what it took, I was willing to commit. Those things came forward with me, but then they taught me the model of, of how to go to the marketplace and talk to people and the numbers game and all that kind of thing. And so I had to let them train me humbly until I could produce, because I had nothing to offer anybody unless it came into me, I produced, and then I was able to, based on that humility. So I'd say, I would give him the book. Is that what your question is? What would you do with him?
Yeah, no, it's a great suggestion. That's a great book. You're absolutely right. If people haven't read it, that's definitely a good holiday gift for themselves.
And I think there's a lot of people that confuse heart, and they give it as an excuse. I care about so many people. Well, our mentor, Cheryl, she loved people. She was a kindergarten teacher. And she goes, I want everybody to pass. So her heart said, I want everybody to pass. But when I think about the 3 talents and the example and how he talked to the person with the 1 talent that wasn't producing, that he was a wicked, evil servant, I thought, whoa, that's not, wow, that's kind of harsh. It seems harsh, because why would the guy with the 1, he's struggling, he needs you, he needs help. But that's not how he, the most wise man in the world, that's not how he viewed it. Because he knew he just had chips on his shoulder, he had attitude. He was just like, he had all these fears. He needed to get over that and do something with his life. So it's a different perspective, but I want people to be where they're meant to be, and I'm not going to agree where they are. So.
Say that last part again.
I want people, I'm going to coach people to where they're meant to be, not where they are. And I just started a new couple. They might be on the phone right now. And literally I looked at them after they got started, and I said, I want you to know that I absolutely care about you. But I can tell you, and you have to understand that you're where you're at financially because of the way you think. There's, and so we're going to work on a lot of things that change the way you think, because your level of income right now, and they're very frustrated with their level of income, phenomenal people. And so I literally had this conversation with them. So I'm like, I want you to be in this game. I want you to be in this growth game with me and be committed to changing how you see and understand success, because something is making you limited, and that limited thinking is giving you limited income. So I deal straight with them because I care. And to say somebody has heart and they don't share truth with love is really not helping somebody. So I deal with them where they're at, but I coach them to where they're meant to be.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much, Darcy. Hey, let's go out. We see some hands up. Let's start with, how about CJ? Let me open up your line. Hey, CJ, go right ahead.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Oh, fantastic.
Good.
Darcy, amazing. I'm like trying to put together what I actually want to comment about here. I think that this is one of these webinars that I always replay things, so I'm going to have to go back over and over and over again. There were so many nuggets in this one particular. I think you need to have a training on everything that we just learned just from this one webinar and how you can apply it to literally everything. And I just want to say, I love, Darcy, I love how you always bring it back to Scripture in your trainings, because, have a conversation with your Maker and what we're designed for. I mean, I have conversations with God daily, and without God in life and us knowing that God is running this thing, we're just doing it on our own strength, and we're never going to get anywhere. I took a deeply spiritual. I got a lot of spiritual nuggets out of this one today. One thing in particular I really loved was Mr. Sniffles, and thinking about, wow, you just really don't know what you don't know, and now you know, and that's applied to everything, especially in our business, whether it's the product, the opportunity. You don't know what you don't know. So, come to the luncheon so that now you know what you're saying no to, or maybe you'll say yes. I just thought that was such a grand slam concept in there. Thank you so much. I'm going to promote this like heavily to my team to make sure that everybody gets on this one again and watches it. There's so many nuggets here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome, CJ. Thank you. Good job getting on live. And absolutely, folks, we've got the playback. Very, very convenient, 24/7 playback available over at ShieldNation.com. And that's what a leader does. Call your team. Let them know, man, what an amazing webinar we just had today. And free, almost every Friday of the year. Again, it's available over at ShieldNation.com under the Events tab, and then webinars. Let's run out to, how about Arlene Williams? Arlene, let me open up your line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hey, how are
Go right
you?
ahead. Wonderful.
I was just really excited about what she was talking about, and it reminded me of how we are actually living inside this divine God mind, and we don't, or I haven't thought myself as being worthy enough to think with that one mind, or even touch that, to be part of that. But if I don't accept my purpose, which this just came as part of me being in this one wonderful, loving mind, then I can go forth with the support to know the purpose. And the purpose is to live and be one with that connection. And I just wanted to thank her for being so brilliant in bringing this together for me, because I've been sitting here for years wondering why I don't, I know everything in a human mind, but I don't accept myself with that one connection as a child of God. So thank you.
Darcy, any comments?
Oh, man. Do you know how many people don't think they're worthy? They literally don't think they're worthy of success. And I want to tell y'all, this gets me. Anyhow, it's hard to talk. This, I was raised with the idea that successful people are evil and they're greedy. So I was told that all my whole life when I was a kid, that evil, selfish, and greedy. So if you had money, you know, my little house, my family, that's what I was told. So when I succeeded in school, I was ashamed. When I did well in sports, I had to be ashamed. I couldn't be okay with that, because anything that you did, you know, was just selfish and it was evil and it was greedy. So I get that. And I'm telling you, what I taught you today is literally what set me free, because I had to like go away from those things that were said to me when I was a kid, because they train you up in a certain concept of your worth and the fact that you're not worth something. But let me help you with that. Let's look at some ideas that can help you break through. If you saw a beautiful Yamaha grand piano, and it was made with such incredible brilliance, the black keys, the white keys, the beautiful lacquer, and it's sitting there, and it was designed by Yamaha to be an instrument of music. But the piano is never played. So the product is created by Yamaha, but the glory of the product, the benefit of the product, the purpose of the product is not to be made. So the fact that you are made, that you are this beautiful lacquer, black and white key piano, massive grand piano, is not the purpose of Yamaha, isn't to make a product. It is to make, you know, the purpose of the product is to release the music that's inside of the product so other people can just cry. Have you ever heard a piano being played that is so elegant and beautiful that you just want to weep? Like it literally grabs your inside, or if you've heard a voice get released out of a body that is so beautiful that it's like literally the glory is released of a thing. So the product manufacturer of anything makes the product, but the glory of the product is when it does what it was purposed to do. So when that you are not worthy, or success is greedy, evil, rotten people, so you don't want to be successful, those kind of little stamps in our brain that lie and hold us in and kind of pull us back because we don't want to be that. Boy, I don't want to be that. And if I'm unworthy, boy, I should be celebrating the success because I'm so unworthy. So all these things are playing in our head, but really forget about all that. Go back to anything. A BMW that's soaring down the road, so beautiful. How that's played and releasing that music is awesome. That's when the product is in its highest place, is when it's doing, D-O, the action word, is doing the thing it was made to do. And in doing the thing it was made to do, in me going and Brielle Hoffman making a presentation, she had a company, 2,000 employees, everyone, 70% enrollment. Hello. All right, so she's going to be like Platinum 20. I don't know what that's going to be, but that is because she releases her just joy of this product. She just goes out there and does this thing and touches people's heart, and they're like, they just can't believe how great this product is. So they, when she does the thing she does, which is love people, serve people, that's the glory of her life, is to go out there and to do something with that product. So that piano that's never played, that plane that's never flown, that car that's never driven, is not the purpose of it, why it was made. So always remember that, and that unworthy thing is linked in many people in different ways, a lie that needs to be uprooted like a bad disease in a tree. You know, you got to get rid of that completely. Not even allow it to live at all. And so that's what I'd say to that, Bob.
Okay, love it, love it. Let's finish off. If Teresa Johnson, if you want to unmute, looks like your hand's up. We'd love to hear from you. If not, we may have to go ahead and finish. Teresa, you there? Okay. Yeah, you're self-muted for some reason there, Teresa, but we'll hear from you next time. Anybody else?
I'm here.
Mr. Hoffman?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
I'm
okay.
here. I'm here.
Go ahead, Teresa.
Thank you so much. Great webinar as always, but you know, I wanted to go back to what Darcy asked us in the beginning. She said, what do you think the Creator was thinking when He made you? And I thought about that, and I said, you know, just answering it from hearing the question today, I said, I believe that He said, I'm going to make Teresa in my image. And while she's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to put inside of her everything that she needs to fulfill all of her dreams. After all, she is the seed of Abraham, and so she can go on in and possess the land. And so I believe He also said that, you know, she's going to have some speed bumps along the way, and she's going to have to decide whether to go left or right or to continue going straight. But one of my greatest gifts that I'm going to give to her will be the gift of free will, so that she can make those decisions that need to be made, but she understands that she's got free will to make them. That's why I believe that this webinar, the companion, as we say in the educational world, the companion study guide for this webinar should be the traveler's gift. And, you know, Dr. have to say we were so on the same wavelength. That's just amazing, because even the picture that you have on the screen right now, believing yourself, that came to my mind when this webinar started. And also the book, The Traveler's Gift, and you started talking about The Traveler's Gift. So that's confirmation. I encourage everyone to go back and to read this book, because it has got some great stuff in it. In the first chapter, which talks about the buck stops here, that's the first decision for success. And that's just taking responsibility for your life and the situation that you're in, and understanding that all the decisions that you've made have led you to your current successes or failures. But until you accept that it is your fault that you are where you are, then your destiny is not going to be in your control. But when you accept that, then you can move forward. And so really this is all about getting in touch with you, because you can't lead a team if you haven't resolved some things within yourself. Oh, you can try, but your team is never going to be what it can be just because there's some things that are going on with you on the inside. And that's why it's so important to surround yourself with wise counsel, with Mr. and Mrs. Hoffman, with your Millionaire Club members, with, you know, people who are going in the same direction that you're going. You can surround yourself by lions, you know, so perfect timing. I love this webinar, and it's the perfect timing for us to be in tune with ourselves, especially as we move into 2016. We get a chance over the next 49 days or so to really hone in and fine-tune and define where we want to be in 2016, but it has to start with you. And so the timing for these webinars could not have been better. Back to you, Mr. Cohen or Mrs. Hoffman.
Thank you so much, Ms. Johnson. Awesome words. And let's go ahead. I think, Darcy, that might be a wrap. Any final words, comments?
Well, Teresa just said something. The getting ready for 2020 or next year, 2016, we're going to start up the habit book. So make sure you have the habits book. So each chapter we go through, we're going to go 7 weeks, 7 chapters. That way, if you ever do a book study with your team, you have the video, the webinar, the book, and you can really develop better habits. So we talked about the I have impulse control problem. That is a big problem, and that goes to bad habits. So we're going to get you ready for the 2016, the year of a lifetime, and we're not going to wait to build that first blast of the year. We're going to start doing the webinars so that by 2016 you've gone through an entire understanding of how to develop good habits. And so that will be our next series, is the Success Habits at Work series. And we'll learn chapter by chapter so that can be done with your teams and with the books. So I'm excited.
And
so we'll see you next
Darcy,
Friday.
let me share real quick, Darcy, that people should pick up that book. If you don't already have it, it's available again at ShieldNation.com under the store. And it's our book of the month right now, so perfect timing on that, Darcy, and really look forward to really diving into that tremendous workbook that you've created. Thanks so much.
Wow. All right. Have a great week, everyone.